Hey guys, it's Psychosis here, and today, sorry about that. Today, I'll be doing a reaction type video to Louder's article, The 10 Worst Albums by 10 Brilliant Extreme Metal Bands. Now, I came across this article, I just wanted to react to it, because these article sites are notorious for having bad articles, so this one caught my eye. Hence the title. It's probably meant to. That's what all these articles do. They bait you with stuff. But anyways, today I'm just gonna try to do something new and react to this article. And if you guys want me to do more of these in the future, I will. Just let me know. But yeah, anyways, let's get on with it. So there's the little thing. Some pictures of them, or a picture, and then the intro paragraph. Alright, here we go. And first off, their first one is Discharge Grave New World. Now, this one's okay. I have heard this album before. I think this is the only album I heard from this band. They're a hardcore punk band or whatever, and they made a metal album, this album. And I do not like the vocals on this album, and the production's just really It bothered, like, the production and the vocals just bothered me on this album. And it's heavy metal too, like the music they made. It's a heavy metal album, and heavy metal is not really a thing I'm super big on, so it's not really something I'm into. It's just okay. The next up is Celtic Frost Cold Lake. And this one is also just kind of okay. It's better than what people say, in my opinion, though, of it. Because this is like their most hated album. But it's because they went in a glam metal direction. Glam metal's not my thing. But there is some good moments on here, this album. But it's really not something I'm too big on. I don't listen to this band a lot either. And it is their worst album though, but it's still, in my opinion, better than what people say it is. And see, they went full out glam. And the next up is Octagon by Baffery. Now this album though, why is this album here? Because this album, in my opinion, is awesome. Yeah, this album is just awesome. And because Baffery is kind of like a black metal band, they're really famous for kind of kickstarting black metal off. But on this album, they went like thrash metal, and there's some really awesome riffs on this album. But the production is just really horrid. Like, it has really horrible production. And it really sets the album back. I kind of see why they put it on there for that reason. But this album is awesome, and I don't understand, besides the production, why it's here. Because musically, it is the best album on this list so far. And next up is one I'll probably get hate for, but Massacre's Promise. And the reason I said I'll get hate for this is because people hate this album. This is the album that Bad Massacre made right after their debut album, From Beyond, which is like a really classic death thrash album. Like, it's an awesome album. This album came afterwards, and people just hated it. I didn't even know it existed for the longest time. But it is different though. It's more on the groovy side. It's this weird, interesting, groovy sound. But I thought it was really cool. It's a lot different, kind of unique for that reason, because of the grooviness to it compared to other albums that came out during this time period. I like it. It's not as great as From Beyond, but I don't hate it either. And it is funny though, because if you say you like this album, full old men will hate you on the internet. It's glorious. But it's like, why are you even listening to this album then if you hate it so much on YouTube? But yeah, that's my thoughts on Promise by Massacre. And this one, next up, is Abruptum's Visonas Veris Negre Malicies. I'd probably butchered that pronunciation, but I hate this album. I just absolutely hate this album. There's not much else to say. It's horrible. It's repetitive. It's long. It's just an hour of like ambient sounds with really low fi production and just wailing like repetitively for like an hour straight. It's really bad. Like, I think this is the worst album probably I've ever heard in my life, actually, or up there. Like, this album deserves to be here. It's really bad. Like, don't even listen to this album. I highly advise not to. Just avoid it with a 2-foot pole. It's just bad. Actually, more than 2-foot pole. Just a massive pole. Just avoid it. And then, after that, you have Destruction's The Least Successful Human Cannonball. And actually, I should say, I don't know why they didn't put album arts on here to make the blog better, but article, whatever, better. But this one is also hated. I kind of have heard this before, and I kind of like it. It's different. Like the Promise by Massacre, it's different. Since a lot of bands during the 90s were going in groovier directions, trying to follow the trends to stay relevant. This album did that, and it has some fun stuff to it, but it is weaker than their thrash metal stuff, by far, though, regardless of what you think of it. Whether you like it or hate it, it is still weaker than their thrash metal albums, because they're a thrash metal band normally. And the grooveness is fun, but it just sounds more like a knockoff Sepultura or Sepultura, however you want to pronounce it. It just sounds like, it just sounds like a knockoff or a version of it. Like a basic version of it. Just really not the best album, but I do like it though. And see, the album art's different too. I don't know why he didn't just put the album art on there, the person who made this article, but whatever. Yeah, that's Destruction Least Successful Human Cannibal. It's good, but it's not great, and there's just so much better stuff than it. So it's just something you want to listen to if you want to just see it. And then next up is Deicides in Torment Hell. Now, I'll be honest here and just clarify, I do not like this band. I have my own reasonings, but I'm not a fan of this band. But this album is awesome though, like musically at least. And this is probably another album like Octagon that's top highlight of this article. Like, it sounds good. There's just nothing bad with this album. Other than that, it's just average. Like, if you wanted to know what average death metal sounds like, just put this album on. Like, it's not bad, but it's just so average. It's just like, yeah, whatever. I've heard this sound a million times. It's just kind of like, oh, it's just an average sound. I've listened to it once, twice, and that's kind of it. You hear it, you've heard enough. But yeah, because of that though, it is better than a lot of this other stuff because you can actually enjoy it, and there's nothing wrong with the writing or anything else. It's just average. But yeah, don't like this band, but they do have good. But this album was just an average death metal album. It's not bad, just average. And next up, this one is absolutely disgusting. I hate this album too. Is 6 Feet Under's Graveyard Classics 2. Now, I'm someone that tries to like this band, but these Graveyard Classic albums are just horrible, and this one is no exception. This one's just really bad. Like, 6 Feet Under, they just sound like such an average band, like just nothing exciting about their music, and just Chris Barnes, the vocalist, he was the original Camel Corpse vocalist, but he just sucks. Like, his vocals are a meme at this point. They're just bad. And just to take an average band with a horrible vocalist, and you get this album. And they keep making these. They've made multiple ones of these, and they just cover like popular songs, and it's horrible. And unless you want to hear your favorite songs get butchered, don't listen to this album, because it's just horrible. It's not that Abruptum album bad, but it's really bad. And then we have, I hate this album, Morbid Angels, Elude Divinum Insanus. Now, I don't even think I've heard this whole thing in its entirety. I remember hearing a song in high school and just wanting to throw my phone away from me. I just hate this album. It's not death metal at all, really. And I think that's why I hated it, is because I used to like Morbid Angel a lot in high school. And this album sounds nothing like that. and I wanted death metal. This album's not that. And it's not just that, it's just a bad album in general, just musically and everything else. It sounds rough, it sounds sloppy, it's just bad. I don't even want to talk about this album. I'm only talking about it because it's here. This is an album I try to avoid, and I advise you would also avoid it. Like with this album, the Abruptum album, the 6 Feet Under album. And next up we have In Flames' Battles. Now this is another one I'll get flack for, but I like this album. But again, I like every one of In Flames' albums. I'm a fan of them. They just make good music in my opinion. But this album, I know why it's hated. Because this is like their Black Sheep album. They just went full bore with their new sound and took it to like its conclusion as much as you could push to change their sound from melodic death metal as you could. So it comes off more of like metalcore-y, pop metal-ish. I like it though, but it's just compared to their newer albums and their older ones, every other album of theirs is just better. But I do enjoy it. There is one song though that I really enjoy on here, but other than that, it's just a weaker album. I'd like it though, because like I said, I like In Flames, like all their eras, all their sounds, but this is by far their weakest one. I kind of understand why it's here, but it's kind of like an easy target. But it's nothing bad either. But it's nothing great or a masterpiece at the same time, you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's it. And there's the offer. Yeah, that was the article. Mostly good picks. There are some ones I didn't understand. Like the Octagon, Afra's Octagon, and the Deicide album, but those are the two highlights though, and maybe In Flames if you want a polished kind of melodic thing. But those three albums I think are my favorites on here. Mostly good picks for bad albums, but some I didn't understand. And I don't know why he didn't put pictures, because it made it look better. I mean, he linked the music, but it's just not enough. But yeah, that was my reaction to the 10 worst albums by 10 brilliant extreme metal bands. Which title's kind of a tongue twister, by Louder. Or from Louder. And yeah, that's my reaction. It's an alright article. I mean, if you want to, you can look at it for yourself and read it more in depth and what the person wrote. But that's just my thoughts on his picks. They're just alright. Some, I agree with some, didn't agree with others. But yeah, that'll be my reaction to it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see me do more of these in the future, let me know and I will. And if not, there's one more article I'd like to look at because it pertains to a genre I really enjoy. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.